all of us. Undergoing medical treatment, let's say, or coming out of a hospital can really prove to be overwhelming for seniors just with the paperwork alone. I know just, one day in the hospital can be a lot of paperwork. Do you actually help them go through that? I mean, as far as understanding the legal jargon and what they're signing and assist with claims processing, because you had worked with insurance.
Right.
So that's all part of what you do.
Absolutely. And what we try to do is we have sort of the KISS approach, which is keeping it simple for seniors. We know.
I like that.
Thank you. You're overwhelmed at that time. We all are at a time of in a situation like that. So our job is to make it as simple a transition so that not only are we helping you, but you're understanding what we're doing. So we're helping you get through all that. Absolutely. We help all that paperwork.
Each insurance policy could vary because
they do.
I mean, there's a vast array of benefits, but also there could be loopholes that I think probably someone like you or a trained attorney might know exactly where to find this or to watch out for. So that's really important.
Absolutely, because we keep in tow as far as being an advocate, because if we see something, because we are very aware that so many bills can be wrong. Statistically, it's stated that 80% of hospital bills are wrong, period. And whether it's off $1.20 or $10,000, they're wrong. So yes, we advocate to help them with if the insurance is not paying, or we look into why and what's going on, and we advocate to help them get their benefits that they're entitled to.
Do you find that most seniors now are becoming more aware and more leery of this is, if it's too good to be true, it usually is? Or do you think many of them are still vulnerable?
I think the vulnerability is still very much there, and again, it's because it's such a difficult arena. It just couldn't be harder if they tried, meaning the insurance companies, Medicare, all of that. It's all necessary and sometimes wonderful and good things, but it's so overwhelming, and that's what we try to do, is take the overwhelming out of the sentence. That's what we try to do. So I think it's still the vulnerability, because it's too much to understand at times.
Do you ever refer a client to a lawyer if you suspect there's been some kind of fraud against him?
Not really so much.
You just try to correct the problem.
Well, because I have such a legal team, not me personally, you're not eligible, but because I have such a legal team in my backyard, that I can usually call them up and say, is this something you need to look at, or is this something we need to address? So yes, I may not refer them, but I might call them and say, is this bad news? Should we jump on this?
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Jay, you are what I call a humanitarian hero. You serve and protect a very vulnerable segment of our population, and kudos to you.
Thank you.
And much success in the future of your business and helping more and more seniors as our population is growing older, and like you said, the baby boomers and all their aging parents.
Absolutely.
Let's go to our Simply Organized mailbag. I recently pulled an email letter that I think you could help me answer. And let's see. Okay, here's the letter. Dear Lisa, since my dad passed away a couple years ago, my mother has been living on her own, but seems to be accumulating a lot of clutter, especially paperwork. She insists she might need them someday. How long do we really have to save vital papers like IRS and medical records? And that's Margaret from East Haven. That is a common problem.
That is. The buzzword or whatever used to be, 7 years, 10 years, it really depends on what it is. And I don't mean to sound so vague by that. It's just that, in other words, if you're with a specific insurance company, and I won't use a specific name, but if you're with one and you've collected for a whole year, you pretty much don't have to go past a couple of years if everything has transpired the way it should. In other words, you're not challenging them on anything. You're not going back 2 years or 3 years. It almost becomes common sense of what you can keep and what you don't have to keep. And that is something that I help them with. So to answer her question, I would just say it kind of becomes what you think, if you've got to go back on it for some reason, then hold on to it. If not, you can get rid of a lot more than you think. Yeah. You really can.
And I think they actually reduced the 7 year. The IRS reduced it to 5 years.
Yes, they did.
only audit within 5 years, unless you own a business. Then they keep it 7.
Yeah, right.
So that's the only thing. But I would think that medical records you might want to keep, because if there's a health condition that maybe a grandchild
Right.
can learn from.
Right.
Like, wow, my grandmother had this at
Right.
50, and we can learn from her treatment or what. So I think medical records might be an
Medical
important
records
thing.
falls into a whole, you're absolutely right, it falls into a whole different category because we've learned as a society we really have to become very diligent about our own medical awareness and our own medical history and all that. So medical records there really is no cap in my thinking. It's more like I say on the insurance paper things because those can really mount up really quickly and depend, that can be shaved down quicker than a 5-year look back. But medical records, I probably would say don't discard them.
Yeah,
I would say don't
agree.
discard medical
It's
records.
just finding
Yeah.
a place for them and,
Yep.
and getting them
Yep.
out of your everyday
Right.
life. Today we're talking to Jay Eyre, who runs Elders Resource out of Guilford, Connecticut, a specialized service for seniors regarding paper management, healthcare, credit fraud, and everything in between. As we wrap up today's show, Jay, let's review some of the many organizing tips that we did share to help make life easier for seniors. Tip number 1, we discussed keeping a written script by the phone to help you deter telemarketers that specialize in getting you to buy things and share
Right.
credit information because
Absolutely.
they, or even coming to your door. I mean, you should never give information out loosely.
Right, and I'm very protective in that way too, in telling them unless somebody you already know they're coming and and it's all been cleared and either through a family member or somebody knows, and they have to totally identify themselves. They can't just come knocking at the door with a yellow shirt and looking
Because we hear that occasionally.
Oh, I hear it a lot. I hear it a
all
lot.
over the country where,
Yep.
the cable man is here.
Right.
Well, we didn't call for
Correct.
the cable man.
That's exactly
and
right.
why do I have to give you my insurance company for
exactly.
cable? My insurance number or whatever, or Social Security. Also, tip number 2, do not keep your Social Security card in your wallet or purse. I think it's really important. If someone's concerned about a family member that might be still carrying it in their little purse, tell them to get that out, right? And like you said, keep it at home in a safe place and tell somebody, a close family member, where it is.
Right.
And I love this one, that you can dial 211. Who would have known that? For information and referrals regarding food, housing, employment, healthcare, counseling, and more. And also, seniors should have their own name on bank accounts. Don't share that with sons or daughters.
Right.
And if you do want your children or someone close to you to have access to the account, then have them open up a POA account, like a power of attorney.
Absolutely.
And also we talked about when researching a skilled nursing facility for a loved one, you can go right online to the Medicare website, which is Medicare.gov.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they have all the ratings for nursing. Do you go by state? Is that what it is?
You can, absolutely. That's exactly how they do it. And Connecticut kind of tends to pop right up anyway. But
if your parents are living in Florida,
oh, absolutely.
You can check facilities.
It's all 50 state friendly, absolutely. So you can go in and see exactly what it is. And like I say, they rate them, give them 5 stars, being the best. And it's just a really handy tool when you're starting out because it's a tough journey for most people.
And I really wonder how many seniors know that this information is there. I mean, I know there's a lot of seniors that aren't even computer savvy yet, but this is where we can step in as the baby boomers.
And even a lot of the children or the loved ones don't know it, and not because. Just for the reason that they're not familiar with it every day, not because they aren't intelligent enough to know what's out there. It's just they don't work with it every day, so it's just a simple thing.
I'm still learning.
Me too. We all are.
But are there any other tips, Jay, that you'd like to add today?
No, I think we really covered them all. I'm glad I did bring up about the mail fraud too, because I wasn't thinking about that when I was thinking of certainly the telephone fraud, but just the mail fraud.
The mail fraud, that was another tip.
Well, just because that's it's so important because I do know somebody, or actually know of somebody that was scammed through the mail not so long ago, a gentleman who did lose $25,000 of his hard-earned money, and it was through mail fraud. And so it is very much out there. But like I say, if it's just even anything you question, the other thing too, and I tell people, you can always open up a P.O. box. It's not necessarily convenient for people, but it is also the way to stop that. So because a lot of the scammers can't get into a P.O. box, depending on
another great tip.
I forgot about that. Yeah, it kind of makes it inconvenient for people at times because now they've got to go pick their mail up. But it also allows the mail to be picked up again by a loved one, like a daughter or a son or something, and they can go through it. Yep.
That's a great tip.
Yep.
Jay, thank you. This was great,
pleasure.
very insightful. For more information on our guest, Jay Lauren Eyre of Elders Resource, visit our show's website at www.simplyorganizedshow.com, and we'll send a link over to Jay's information. I'm Lisa Lelis for Simply Organized. Till next time, happy organizing.